Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of the Let's K12 Better podcast. This podcast is a project between Mom of All Capes and her kids.
Hi!
In our podcast, we will cover a variety of subjects involving K-12 education and family life. We will talk about the ways that parents, kids, and educators can improve K-12 education and family life. We encourage you to join our conversation on social media using the hashtag Let's K12 Better. Let's jump into Season 2, Episode 5 of the Let's K12 Better podcast.
February is Black History Month. Black History Month started as an effort by Carter G. Woodson and Jesse E. Moorland in the early 20th century to celebrate and research accomplishments and contributions by people of African descent. But why should we celebrate cultural heritage months like Black History Month? In this instance of Black History Month, many people, Black people included, are not exposed to the richness and diversity of experience or even the contributions made by Black people throughout time. And although we want this information taught in schools, we want to take those first steps to introduce people and incentivize bringing these nuanced experiences to our homes and our classrooms. We took time to talk about what Black History Month means to us. How do we expand our understanding of Blackness in the United States and throughout the world? And, how can we lovingly challenge each other to push for more inclusive narratives? I'm not going to lie, there were many moments during this conversation when the kids left me literally speechless. And I want to be very clear that we don't and we can't speak for all Black people. But we hope that this conversation inspires some thoughts about how one family interprets their Black experience. Okay, so we are back. It's been a while since we've... Yes! Okay, it's been a while since we've been at the kitchen table to have a discussion, but it's Black History Month. BHM! What? So it's really important that we have this discussion as a family, and we encourage everyone listening to make sure that they have a discussion about the importance of Black History Month and what you can learn during the month of Black History exploration, I guess is the best way to put it, so that you can carry it out with you through the rest of the year. Are we ready to jump into our questions?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's get started with our first question, and that is, what does Black History Month mean to you?
I think it means just a time where you celebrate Black people and ancestors that have done great things and have helped this country grow into what it is now.
That's a really great answer. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Okay, what about you? What does Black History Month mean to you?
Black History Month for me, Black History Month is more like a time for us to start teaching people so that they can be prepared throughout the whole year, like you said. For me, sometimes Black History Month is really fun and stuff like that when teachers, some of my teachers do lessons and stuff like that. But most of the time, it's kind of frustrating because it's not I want people to Black History Month just overdo it, but I want them to understand and read books at least during the month. It's just, yeah.
So it's a mixture of joy and frustration?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what it means to be Black. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So, what does Black History Month mean to you?
For me personally, at least, Black History Month is a time to kind of reflect on the great things that people of color and Black people specifically have done and have been doing, and to recognize those things because most people don't really recognize those things.
So it's like a good time to like raise awareness about the impact of Black people.
Yeah.
Not only in the United States, but the world, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. I can dig that. All right. So you guys brought up some really amazing points from that first question. So even though we would rather see Black history and the history really of all people of color integrated into our history courses beyond that side highlighted box or that side like panel, why is it still important to celebrate this month? And, you know, what could it lead to?
I think it's important to celebrate this month because we need to like learn more about these things, because like more people, it's like mostly when we think about like Black history or like people of color, we think of like Martin Luther King or like Rosa Parks, but there are so many more people than that, and we need to people need to know that.
What I gather from your point is that there's more to Black history than just the civil rights era. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you? So, you know, again, Black history we want it integrated into history. But why is it still important to celebrate this month, and what can it lead to?
I would say that leads to people. So you know how people are like, name a Black person. If someone on the street, you said for them to name a Black person, and they probably like, I'm going to say like 70% of the people that you would say that to, or maybe even 90%, would say either Martin Luther King Jr. or Harriet Tubman. And so then that would lead to people starting to say different people, because it's not that those Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, and Rosa Parks aren't important, but they're just people that like we learn about all the time over and over again. And I don't have a problem with it, but it's just like there's other people. If you want to even like say someone in the same time eras, like Sojourner Truth, Malcolm X, like James Baldwin, like there's so many other people.
Why do we want to still celebrate these months?
So we want to still celebrate this month and like Black History Month, because I know like everyone says this, but Black history is American history. I would say that like Black history is like the backbone of American history, because like we were one of the first people to arrive in America. So I feel like it's important to celebrate that, not to celebrate it, but like to just learn about it and like appreciate it.
The reason for coming here is not to celebrate, but you're right. There's still a reason to revel in the fact that we're here.
Like when we learn about Christopher Columbus, we don't acknowledge the brutality of his visit to America, and like
and his stay.
Yeah, and like any of those voyagers and settlers, yeah, even people from Portugal, Spain, like all of the people who are like, oh, I'm going on a ship to go see a new world, like all of them did very brutal things, and we don't learn about it in school because school censors it. And of course school needs to be age appropriate, but I feel like if we're learning about the person, it's age appropriate to learn about exactly what they did.
So you're saying that in many ways Black history highlights the negative aspects of a lot of the things that you guys are learning?
Yeah.
So does that mean that educators and you know, even parents who really love the way that history is taught right now, like, do you think that they would want to teach about Black history then?
I feel like there's actually a big percentage of educators who would appreciate Black history being woven into the curriculum. I know there's a big percentage, because even some of my teachers like try to add Black history and stuff like that into their lessons just to make sure that they're actually teaching it how it was. But the people who like how it is right now, where it's just not even scratching the surface, it's just like the air, like maybe we could tell them like, so like, you know, the thing I said about if we're learning about the person, then it's age appropriate. Well, then I mean, like, if we're learning about the person, then we should learn about every single thing. And Black history being the problem in this,
is Black history the problem?
I mean, like, if we're
or
saying...
does it highlight the problem?
Highlights the problem. I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologize ever. Like, we're doing an interesting thought exercise here, right? Where, yeah, that's right. So, like, wait, hold on. So we're doing an interesting thought exercise. You brought up some really, like, amazing points that I didn't even think about when I was like, well, let's talk about this, right? This idea that Black history in many ways highlights some of the aspects of American history and global world history that we don't want to talk about, that we feel uncomfortable talking about.
Like,
or even some of the things that we don't understand.
The sad part about it is that most of the things that those people who don't want to talk about Black history and, like, feel uncomfortable letting their children be exposed to real American history, which it has Black history woven into it, enjoy going to, like, the Washington Monument and enjoy seeing those just, like,
they enjoy going to the museums, the Capitol building, they
just like
looking at the White House,
stuff like that. And they're like, well, they don't talk about who built it, and which is where enslaved
supported it at the beginning.
Yeah, because, like, I feel like in America, like, all the things that we do are modded. Like, say school. Oh, I was gonna
explain that. Yeah, explain that.
So, say school, right? So, like, how I explained how, like, we don't really learn about, say Christopher Columbus. We don't really learn about everything that he did that was bad. Well, we don't even learn about anything that he did was bad because school is just the surface. Like, that's why I think it's modded, because I feel like everyone wants America to be, like, this happy place, because a lot of people, like, want to go to America and want to live in America. So I think that's why people, like, don't talk about Black history in schools and stuff, because, as Mom said, that's literally, like, what starts, like, unveiling, like, the whole big problem. Like, it's like if you pulled off a Band-Aid and then there's a scab, and you pulled off the scab, and then, like, there's, like, a disease under it, you know? So, yeah. Like, America just put a Band-Aid on top and said, oh.
Thank you for sharing that.
I would like to add on to Garvey, because what she said was really, like, really good, and I just felt, like I had some things to say about it. Also, it's not just, like, the people who are happy with it and, like, educators who are, like, want to keep it the same. Sometimes it's, like, the students, because sometimes they see it as, like, a shortcut, like, oh, this might be less work, or, oh, this might be less whatever. So, or they're, like, very sensitive to the topic, so they think that they shouldn't have to learn about it. But if you're not going to teach everything, then don't teach the part of the lesson, because that's just not getting the lesson to its fullest. You're just getting, like, bits and pieces instead of, like, the full picture.
So in many ways, it's easier to give a shortcut or give a gloss over or give, like, just a very tiny look into what's going on versus a deep dive, which, requires people to do some work, might even require people to do some internal introspective work about who they are as a person and what they value.
Yeah, and I think people, like, just in general don't want to do that sometimes. And that just makes it, like, the censorship of these kind of lessons, that part makes it worse, because we're not looking inside ourselves, or we're not looking at the actual situation. We're just looking at this child-friendly censorship. Yay. And it's not really what we need to be looking at.
I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've been talking about all the things, right? The original question was about why we should still celebrate and what does it lead to. So you can talk about that, or you can talk about anything that your sisters have said so far. What would you like to share?
I would like to add on to Naima, because she said, like, some kids don't feel comfortable about talking about the subject. I think that, like, we need to dig deeper to why I think it can lead to like understanding why people don't want to talk about it, or like knowing, okay, so since we know our history, maybe we can help the student like be more comfortable about it, or ask the student, why do you feel uncomfortable about it? And I think that something we can do is like we can like encourage teachers to like talk about it in classes, like as a just like extra, like have a book club. My school has a book club of it. We'll just have like a club where it's like they talk about racism and all that stuff.
That's cool. So I have a question for you though, right? So you're like saying like letting teachers talk about it. What if a teacher doesn't know what to talk about? What should happen for that teacher if they don't know how to teach Black history in their classroom?
I think that the club would be more for the kids to talk about it and teach their teachers, so that like maybe or they can look it up together, like a little side thing, so that when they go back to classes, then they can talk about it with the teacher. The teacher's not just talking about it.
So you're saying that some sort of collaborative learning experience between the students and the teachers?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I love that. I love that a lot. Any opportunity where students can be experts or students can bring knowledge to each other is always great. Yeah. And then I would also say, I'll just throw in my little tidbit here of professional development being extremely important, especially in topics like Black history that are super important, but it's not known. So we really need to make sure that teachers get some professional development and some assistance from their district or from their supervisors, from the principal, right? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so we're going to jump into our next question. And you're going to start us off here. How can white and non-Black people of color better honor Black culture and Black history? Some advice that you might give.
First of all, like you could learn from someone Black or someone of color that like you didn't really know about something. And also, like some people like they think that it's like honoring Black people or people of color when they like wear the clothes, but actually it's really disrespectful sometimes.
And sometimes, right? Like, cause like wearing the clothes is cool when you know what you're doing, and
but like some people are like, and it's like racist kind of.
Okay, all right. So we want to make sure that we do a bit of like research, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. We don't want to just be doing stuff just to do it. Okay, that's a great point. I love that. I love the fact that you said like bringing in friendships. Can you talk a little bit more about why it's important to have Black friends?
Because I think I said this like earlier in a few other episodes, but when you have different friends or just friends of color or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, then like you will know like about them and how you can learn and expand from this.
So you get to understand the world from a different person's perspective?
Yeah, and a different point of view.
Okay, I love that. Thank you so much.
Also, sorry.
No,
I have
don't
something
apologize.
like a little like thing. So we just talked about point of view. Like sometimes when you're watching a movie, like people are like, that's wrong, but you're like, haha, that's funny. And then it's like, what?
So you're saying that making sure that the media you consume is appropriately displaying people of color's experiences? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay, cool. We're on one accord. All right.
Sorry, it's too long.
No, it's fine.
So first, I want to disagree with like you and Sophia when you guys said like when people wear clothing like that's like say has like prints from I don't know like somewhere in like Africa, like how they have really pretty like stuff. Yeah. Well, like let's say someone who isn't Black is wearing it and they don't know like where it's from, how it was made, stuff like that, or they're wearing it just to be insensitive. Yeah, I agree. Like they should do research. They should understand. First, I think that...
Wait, so I got to ask you a slightly controversial question then. Should a white person never wear like West African, East African, North African, Central African, South African prints? Or, what do you think?
Okay, so first, like, in one hand, there's like two like hands. On one hand, it's like no, because like I think it should be special to black people. But on the other hand, it's like it's just clothing, so I feel like everyone should wear it. But on the hand that's like it's just clothing, well, if they're just wearing it, like whatever, like it could become a problem. Like sometimes it does become a problem, and people start feeling just offended because other white people are wearing clothing from like West Africa, South Central Africa, all those places. On the other hand, some people might feel like, oh, okay, like they're wearing clothes for my culture, like wow, like honored that they would even buy it. Mm-hmm. So it's not really like yes or no simple answer. It's more like you have to consider people's responses.
What about a black person? Right? Because remember, there's diversity within the black community experience, right? The diaspora is vast. It's not just Africa as a monolith, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even black people are all the same. So is it okay if I'm like, I'm Trini and I'm going to wear like something from Ghana, right? Like, is that okay?
That's a good question. Because like some people who are Trinidadian are also like dark skinned, like black people, and they sometimes identify as black. So, I don't know, because like again, you have to like consider like who's wearing it, if they know what it's about, know where it's from, the history of it. Also you have to consider like the person's attitude towards it, like if they're doing it to be insensitive or stuff like that. So like I would say like you have to just consider like, yeah.
I really appreciate how thoughtful you were. There's no right or wrong answer, especially in a question like that, because you've brought up that it depends on what environment you're in and how the other people feel. So thank you for taking that on. So how about like more ways that white and non-black people can honor black culture and black history?
Okay, so this is like sort of like a big topic, and it's not like a big controversial issue, but it is kind of controversial. Like Kim Kardashian wearing like cornrows and she's not black. Mm-hmm. So like things like that, like wearing black hairstyles, there's no problem with you wearing braids, but like black hairstyles, if you don't know
the history.
But you also shouldn't wear black hairstyles if you're not black. So
and also she makes lots of money off of the same hairstyles that black women use as protective styles for their hair. Mm-hmm. So like she gets on the cover of a magazine and makes millions of dollars, and we just braid our hair and go to bed at night. So it's very different.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, like I don't know Kim Kardashian. Like there's a lot of people who probably don't know her either, what she's about, because yeah. But what I want to say is that maybe she doesn't even know like where braids came from. One hand, like again, you shouldn't wear braids, or not braids, but just black hairstyles if you're not black. And also if you do wear black hairstyles, you need to understand where it came from and why we even wear these hairstyles. And then like another thing is like, okay, it's kind of like off topic a little bit, but like it's also kind of like a weird thing for you to think about. Like this is kind of like, it's not like really for me to answer, but it's kind of for you to answer. Mm-hmm. So like if you're in a video game, right, say like Roblox, and your avatar has like a white complexion or like Asian complexion, something like that, and like it's not black, should you wear like a black hairstyle?
I don't know. I mean, you kind of talked about this in that video that you did for the New York Times, right?
Yeah.
Where you were talking about digital blackface, and like, it made you uncomfortable that your friends did it, and so you informed them and educated on why it made you uncomfortable, right? I think that in many ways, right, there are a lot of people whose hair can do like the same things that black people's hair can do,
Yeah.
right? And those people identify as white or Jewish or, Hispanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to monopolize braids, but at the same time, if you're wearing them in a way in which black people do, you want to make sure that you're sensitive to, am I making money off of this, right? Am I, am I putting myself out there as the creator of this? Am I centering myself as, I came up with this is so amazing, so super dope,
Fashion chic,
right? Fashion chic, I'm the best. Am I taking credit for a long history of necessity and innovation that a culture of people went through to create this style, right? So I think that there's a lot that we need to think about when we say, should people wear this or not? Should people have this hairstyle or not?
Yeah. Okay, sorry for going off track.
No, it's never off track. Like this is what we're here for.
Okay. Well, anyway,
and we hope that other people who are listening too, like, not to cut you off, but like, we hope that other people who are listening meditate on the same things that we're talking about. I mean, we don't have all the answers, right?
Like, we always say the same thing. We always say, like, read books, but sometimes it's not always easily accessible to read a book about Black history because you might not know which book actually will teach you, or like which book is actually like has the real facts, or maybe you can't afford it. Maybe it's not accessible to you at your library. So there's a lot of things also that would be in play for you to not even be able to access a book. So maybe, like Sophia said, maybe you can connect with some Black people on maybe social media and ask, maybe not. Okay, maybe you want to make sure that that person actually understands Black history and stuff like that, and like is giving you the real facts. But like,
so
maybe
consider your source and ensure that it is a reputable source.
Another thing you can do if you're like an educator or a teacher is like incorporate like Black history in your lessons. So like, please please don't put a Black person on every slide. And like, because like, if I was a Black kid in your class, or think about a Black kid in your class sitting in class being excited for Black History Month and like seeing you overdo it, like that would feel embarrassing, because then like the whole class would just like look back at you. I mean, actually, I've had this happen. Like, we were learning about a Black person in class in Black history, and everybody looked back at me. I was just like, yeah. So like, it's just overdoing it. Like, yeah, like maybe every day, like this is what my old teacher did. Every day they put like a Black person to learn about, but like, don't do like Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King. Do someone that like, maybe you could do someone like Shirley Chisholm or like Angela Davis, but don't do someone who's like well known. Like, even my Angelo, like Angelo, like she's so like, it's not like everyone knows her, but like she's kind of well known. So like, find someone like you've probably never heard of before, and maybe try to find some facts about them, and like just something really it doesn't even have to be like a whole lesson about them, like just like a quick acknowledgement of them, and then like you can just move on. Because I think it's important that we just at least like just mention someone else, and also that like we can incorporate it into school, because as I said before, like Black history is American history. So
you've brought up a couple really great points, and I just want to kind of pull them together. One being like, you can't have no people of color represented on your slides for like 9 out of the 10 months of the year, and then go crazy during Black History Month.
Exactly.
And then like, you want to make sure that you do a little bit of digging to bring
9 of 12 actually. Wait, 1 of 12.
9 of 10 months. It's 10 months out of the school year.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So you also want to make sure that you do a little bit of digging and find, great people who are lesser known, so that you expand the consciousness and awareness of all of the different kinds of ways Black people have contributed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's
so
cool.
yeah, that's my long spiel. Make sure you subscribe.
Okay, so how can white and non-black people of color honor Black history and Black culture?
I feel like we can recognize the like struggles that Black people have had to go through, and like the troubles we've faced to like get to this point of somewhat equality, because we haven't even gotten full equality yet, or full like recognition for what we do yet, but at least we've gotten to the point where we have more freedoms and rights, but we need to continue that path of freedoms and rights and making sure that everyone is accounted for.
So then we want to make sure that if you are not Black, that you're acknowledging that though Black people have come a long way, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, and just to do your part too.
I love that you added that, because it's not just like Black people have to do it by themselves.
Yeah, everyone should contribute and everyone should help in one way or another, because even if you can't help on like a national scale, you can still help.
I love that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, so we're going to talk about resources, right? So we just dropped our Black History Month toolkit.
What?
Got
It's not a toolkit, it's a wrap.
Hey. You're crazy. I love it.
Love you, Mom.
I love you too.
I love you more.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's possible.
I love you. I love you both.
I love you both.
More.
I love all three of you guys. I love us. This is amazing. So listen, I'm going to say that we dropped our Black History Month toolkit with resources that have like links and recipes and books and Spotify playlists and
I'm on them
podcast
Spotify playlists.
Yes, queen.
What?
So let's just go around and like kind of just share. We do a lot in our home. We have tons of Black history books and documentaries and movies. Probably because Mom is an Africana Studies major.
And because you're
so
woke.
you guys have no choice. Yeah, I have African American Studies, Oberlin College. Shout out. What? Okay, so let's share resources from things that we've already done. Not necessarily Black History Month, but what have we watched or read that we want other people to either watch or read?
I don't have
She's going to go first.
any movies.
Okay, we've determined the order. Here we go.
I don't have any movies in specific, but I have some pretty good books. One of them is Woke Gaming. It's really good. And
Shout out to Dr. Kashana Gray.
yeah. How they put together the book and like the different articles within the book is really good, and I really recommend pick it up at your local bookstore, or wherever.
Or a Black-owned bookstore.
Yeah.
Or library.
Yes, or
In
your
school,
library.
some.
Anything else that you want to recommend?
But also, I recommend the book The Spirit of Intimacy. It kind of dives
Sabon
into
Fusome.
yeah. It dives into like Black love and like the intimacy that Black people have. But it doesn't it doesn't centralize itself in like American Black. It centralizes itself in African Black.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that. And I think it's a really great book for people who are an African American Studies major, especially because it's touching on it's touching on topics and themes that kind of relate to those kind of studies, and it also like it's good to learn about not just like American Black people, but it's also good to learn about like Black people from all over the world.
Yes. And I'll say, you don't have to be an African American Studies major to enjoy books about Black culture or Black people.
I haven't even gotten to college yet.
I mean,
I love these books.
Yes. So shout out to, Sabon Fusome's book, Spirit of Intimacy. It's a very great look at the ways in which intimacy, relationships are viewed from, obviously, Sabon Fusome's perspective, which is from her tribe, which is one of thousands of tribes from her region. So, yes, check that out. Okay, so who's my second person who wants to drop out
Me.
some stuff? Okay, here we go.
So the first movie that I really like, and the book, it's a book and a movie. The Hate You Give is like it really explains like about different races and how the girl, she has to like move in between two worlds. And I like how like they did that. And another book is I forgot. Sorry.
That's okay. We can come back to you.
Okay. Movie is Ambigellum.
Antebellum.
Sorry, I forgot about
Ambigellum.
Good old.
What movie was that?
Good old Ambigellum.
Okay, don't make her feel bad.
I know you did
You
not.
don't have to worry about it. But it is making it into the show. All right, so the movie she's talking about is Antebellum. We did watch Antebellum as a family. It is not necessarily a kid movie, but, you know, that's how I roll. We talk about everything as we watch. I would definitely recommend this as a critique and look into Civil War reenactments, right? I feel like there's a lot of love for Civil War reenactments and passion for Civil War reenactments. And this movie is definitely a critique about why do we love them so much? Why do we love Civil War monuments so much? I think that what happened on January 6th, you know,
Kind of like opened our eyes.
Yeah, and hopefully people begin to have these important discussions about that, right? We don't want to erase the Civil War. We do not want to erase the South, right? And we don't want to erase what happened during the Civil War, right? I think it has a place, and we definitely need to talk about it. But definitely watch Antebellum. It's a very interesting critique about Civil War reenactments. You should watch it before parents should probably watch it before the kids watch it. Okay, so how about you? What do you got to share?
I have 2 books and then like a movie. And yeah, so my first book is called The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. And then the second book is Stamped. I don't remember who it's from, but
Ibram Kendi. Yeah. And there's 2 authors on it. So let me look it up while you're talking. Anyway, why'd you pick those 2?
I picked those 2 because well, Stamped is sort of like, it's kind of like a good book to read if you're don't really know anything about Black history. Like you're just kind of reading to like learn, because it's not really a history book, but it's more just like an overview of like Black history throughout time. So yeah, and the second book, it's just sort of like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, like it's almost the same, but like
it's a classic.
Yeah,
The Souls of Black Folk is a classic. And just want to drop in here, Stamped is by Jason Reynolds and Ibram Kendi. So just wanted to make sure I highlighted that. But yeah, The Souls of Black Folk. Am I saying the soul of Black folks? The Souls of Black Folk. Ugh, I can't even do it right. The Souls of Black Folk. Goodness, the S is in the wrong spot. Anyway, that's a classic. It's a classic. What other movie did you want to share?
So the movie I want to share is called Bamboozled.
You stole mine.
Can we also watch it tonight?
Yeah, we can totally watch it tonight.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry to but actually, okay, so the movie, I'm just going to do like a quick overview because I don't know.
We'll do a whole podcast episode. How about our next episode
will be about
Bamboozled?
Okay, so basically it's just really good. Don't tell it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's sort of controversial, so I don't really recommend watching it if you're kind of sensitive.
No, everyone should watch that movie.
No, wait. Because
shout out to Spike Lee.
Okay, fine then. Okay, then everyone should watch it. But also, you should watch it if you're with kids, like really small kids. It's actually sensitive to small kids because they might not understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just actually, I'm not even serious. I'm being serious.
I'm gonna jump in here and just say, in my opinion, I think that Bamboozled was definitely a great movie, but it was slightly prophetic. And I want to just say, I think it was one of Spike Lee's best movies. It came out in the year 2000. And it literally, we will talk more in depth about this our next episode, because I think
it needs a whole episode.
It needs a whole episode.
The whole movie is just It's more than a conversation.
So then tonight, you guys got to take notes so that this next episode will be about Bamboozled, and we're just going to kill it. Slay all day.
Okay, so sorry to like, but
no,
like,
you stole mine.
Another thing I want to say is just to add on to like my books. There's like a lot of other books that you could read, but you should also try to find books that like talk more in depth about racism. So like I don't really know how have any really like specific books, but I'm pretty sure my mom has like.
Oh my God, I have so many. If you ever need books that discuss, race, American history, I am more than happy. And yeah, I'm more than happy to make suggestions, because I think there's a lot of garbage out there, right? I'm not even going to lie. There's tons of garbage. But there's some really good books too. Yeah. So hold on. Listen. So I'm going to give a few of my faves. Pretty much anything Audre Lorde is going to be great, right? I think Sister Outsider is awesome. That should be. Yes, dude. Yes. Sister Outsider. It's on the shelf. Yeah. So anyway, Sister Outsider, Audre Lorde, great book. I would also say From Columbus to Castro, which gives an in-depth overview of the history of the Caribbean. I took a course on Caribbean history, and it just opened my eyes to the vastness of experience in the Caribbean, which has so many similarities to the United States, and yet in many ways has so many differences. And in many ways, a lot of Caribbean countries were leveraged as bargaining tools. So just definitely check that out. It gives you a great look at like the geopolitical landscape as well. You would not think that the Caribbean would be part of the Cold War. It definitely had a significant role in the Cold War. Yeah, so it's very interesting book. Dr. Bettina Love's book, We Want to Do More Than Survive. Great book. I definitely recommend that. Very good book. She's an amazing speaker, amazing advocate for Black student joy. So definitely check her out on Twitter too. Please follow her, but definitely read that book. I would also add anything James Baldwin is also going to be like a slam dunk, I would say obviously The Fire Next Time, but there's so many great reads from him. And I love him because he loves America. I think, I love the United States, and I have a complicated love relationship with it. And I think that, a lot of Black people do, whether they want to agree with that or not. And he communicates that in a way that is just super beautiful, visceral, but also quite thoughtful too. So I would definitely check out James Baldwin. I guess that's it for now. Okay, we are at the end. I have a question. What do you wish people understood about Black people?
So for me, what I wish people understood about Black people, and I think this is just like, based off of me and like my family and what we do and stuff. I think like we Black people wish that we would just acknowledge that, like you guys did some really terrible stuff, but we can overcome from that. So, but we want you guys to teach about it, Sorry, I'm gonna reword it. So like there was okay, so like slavery, for example, right? Like that was like really, really like, that's sometimes for some people that's really, really hard to talk about. And like, we understand that, but we also need you to acknowledge like it was hard for the people who were involved. So yeah.
Okay, so an acknowledgement of the history and the challenges that have had to be overcome.
Yeah.
Okay, and that it's okay to lean into that discomfort and into that the hard toughness of it.
Yeah.
Which, hard for who, right? I mean, I think I think that that's a conversation. Yeah, I think that that's a conversation that maybe we'll have later when we talk about like quote unquote hard histories. You know, we talk about enslavement or, Japanese internment camps or, all kinds of other.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor, or we talk about, what has happened with indigenous people on their own land, right? We talk about all these things being hard histories. Who is the history hard for?
And
right?
why is it hard?
And why is it hard? Like why is that challenging? So that'll be a great discussion to have later. So thank you for bringing that up. All right. So what do you wish that people understood about Black people?
I wish that people understood how like history makes Black people feel. Like it might make people feel uncomfortable, or it might make Black people feel happy that people are talking about it, or the way that people are talking about it. And I think that people need to understand other people more.
Thank you so
much.
And
not just Black people.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Because I thought that was straightforward. Thank you. How about you? What do you wish people knew about Black people?
That we're not all the same person. And that what we don't get is that also a misconception is, this is not just Black people but people of any race, is that everyone from a race knows each other. I know not every single person like knows this, but lots of people do, and it's like a misconception that if you're Black, you know every Black person ever. That's just stupid, and that's not like
reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
And also that there's not just bad stuff that comes with being Black. Like, yes, there's racism and like other added facts like that, but we also get to experience our Blackness in a positive way.
Yo, you killed it. Thank you. Okay, I guess I'll go and share what I wish people understood about Black people. I think that these guys, they covered it perfectly. Covered all the bases. I mean, you killed it. But I will say, I'll add in here that, like there is a diversity and beauty and richness and awesomeness that goes along with the Black experience. You know, Black people do not feel sorry for themselves. It's an experience that we celebrate. I also think that we don't realize how much innovation is required to survive historically and contemporarily in systems that weren't designed for your way of looking at the world. Yeah. So I think that we should celebrate that. And that sometimes we often punish people for that, the level of innovation that goes along with survival. I just want to thank you guys for such an insightful, thoughtful conversation.
I want to thank you, Mother.
Oh, thank you.
You don't.
Just want to encourage people to celebrate Black History Month to the fullest. Yes. Yes. Celebrate Black History Month. But Black History Month is not enough. We want Black experiences and the experiences of other people's histories and cultures and contributions recognized more intentionally and included in the American narrative. But we have to start somewhere. So we got to be realistic. This month is just a start on a long journey of individual and collective exploration into one cultural experience of thousands. We challenge families to leverage this time together to courageously explore some of these same questions that we discussed. We have them listed in the show notes. If you have any cool epiphanies you'd like to share with us, or if you get caught without answers, that's okay. Please leave them in the comments or share them with us on social media.
Each episode, we will share quotes that we find inspirational.
Lupita Nyong'o is an award-winning actress and author. Her quote: "No matter where you are from, Your dreams are valid.
Amanda Steenberg is an American actress and singer. Better known for her acting, she has received several awards and was included in the Times list of most influential teens. Their quote, "If I'm receiving hate about something, it must mean that I'm saying something that's important."
My quote is by George Washington Carver, who was an American agricultural scientist and inventor who promoted alternate crops to cotton and methods to prevent soil depletion. His quote is, 99% of the failures come from people who have a habit of making excuses.
Margaret Walker was a groundbreaking poet and novelist and the first Black poet to receive the Yale Younger Poets Prize. Her quote, "Let a new earth rise, let another world be born, let a bloody peace be written in the sky. Let a second generation full of courage issue forth, let a people loving freedom come to growth."
Thank you for listening to the Let's K12 Better podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe.
We want to hear from you. Connect with us on social media at Let's K12 Better on all social media platforms, or connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at Mom of All Capes. The Let's K12 Better podcast is available on every podcasting platform. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate and review our podcast. Your feedback helps us grow. Thank you so much for listening.
See you next time.